I wrote a $4,593.88 check to sell a car yesterday back to the dealer. And guess what? I haven't been more happy in a very long time. This is the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive.
And I mean, like,
this has a lot to do with real estate. Is that I was on the phone with my co-host, Jesse Paul, this morning and found out that Jesse wrote how big of a check?
$5,000.
I didn't know that. You never told me that. Well, nobody wants to admit that.
Well, it didn't matter to me. It was a strategic move.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd already bought my Tesla. I needed to sell the Toyota. It wasn't moving. And I said, well, okay, here's an easy way out.
Yeah.
So I felt good about it at the time.
Is this so interesting? And guys, we are going to dig into market realities and the dilemmas that a lot of sellers are having because they paid a premium for their home because they bought in 21 and 22, a lot of them. And you have people who want, and in many cases really need to move, but they're going, but I overpaid and what am I going to do? And guys, listen, for our show today, if you just picked this up, I want you to say something. I want to talk goals today. We should always have goals in life. Right? Yep. You know what Zig Ziglar has? You got to have goals. If we help one single seller make a decision that needs to make a decision, one person, because of this painful story, then we did well today. All right.
Yeah.
So this is the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive live from 695 East Tabernacle Street, right at the corner of Tabernacle and University with the big, beautiful mural on the side of the building that says you belong here. And you do. You do belong here. So people have asked me over the last couple of years, what does that mean? Who is that supposed to be? I'm like, it's just art. It's just fun. You know, we're a community that it's a community where lots of people are moving in, and it's a lot of fun to look at, and people stop and take photos in front of it very often.
It's something that means something different to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's when you look at it, what does it mean to you? Mm-hmm. And it makes me think of, and maybe I'm just weird, but how often do I say to myself, I don't fit in. I don't belong here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Often.
Instead, what if my message to myself was, man, you're right where you're supposed to be. Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I belong here.
Well, yes.
So what does it mean to
good.
you?
Yes, so good.
I think that's what you had in mind when you did that.
Yeah, it's incredibly cool and a little fun backstory. And then we're going to talk about writing checks to sell cars and maybe writing checks to sell homes.
Yep.
I was going to put this wish you were here type postcard, which is in every city in Utah and really across America on the side of there. It was like, I was so inundated with the process of transforming this building that I was kind of out of ideas. And if you haven't been to our building, you really got to just tell us you want to come over and walk through it. It's an homage. It's a tribute to St. George, Utah. It's so fun. I had Hafen, last name Hafen, very, very local in the studio, in the office yesterday. Great people, working with a great artist in town, Roland Lee. I was selling a home for him. Anyway, They come in here and when these people walk through this building, they go, oh my gosh. And Ernie yesterday walked in and said, I got married in this building. Yeah, my client. I got married in this building. Yeah. People they're having weddings 50 years ago.
Wow.
Well, I mean, ish. It wasn't 50 years for him, but it was back then.
Interesting. What great history this building has.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so this artist came along, Ashley Graff, and she sent me a DM on Instagram and said, you have this beautiful white palette on the east side of that building. I'd love to propose some art. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I have this figured out. And I'd actually talked to a lady about it. And I said, fine, propose something. She hand drew something and sent it to me. And I said, oh my gosh, that's what we want. And the fun part that almost nobody knows is for her to put that size of mural on the side of the building, she hand drew all of the art. And then what she did is basically scan it into some software so it was digital. And we projected it onto the side of the building and actually traced it all with a Sharpie. Yeah. And one night I went out and helped them. So I've got a little of my own handiwork, but she had to paint it all. It's a huge wall.
Yeah, it took her a while.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's very cool. Look, let's talk about writing this check. Let me set it up because I set it up, right? So I have this, look, if you're selling or you know somebody, Jesse, this is really true for vacation rental owners. Let me tell you who really benefits. if you bought a vacation rental in 21 and 22 and you now realize you overpaid, but here's the funny part. But you didn't overpay because we always pay what the market accommodates. Mm-hmm. But I'm setting this up intentionally. You overpaid, but you didn't. See, I bought a Kia Sorento, 18,000 miles on it, an excellent. It was beautiful, deep green. People always commented on it. I bought the Sorento in 22, right at the tail end of when you couldn't even get a car. When cars were selling for $5,000 over list.
Yeah, that's when I bought my RAV4 too. That I sold and wrote the check for $5,000 is 2021.
Yeah. So we had this. This is so funny that we have these matching experiences. So I buy this car, and if you're a homeowner, vacation rental owners, Airbnb owners, I have a lot of them, Jesse. And how many are we talking to? There are two groups that I think benefit here. There are two groups that benefit, but the Airbnb owners, how many of them that we talk to are so frustrated with what they paid versus what it's worth versus what they're taking in income?
That's so funny. Most of them are really frustrated. So it's so funny that you actually mentioned that. On the way to work this morning, I was thinking about how many of them are actually not making money.
Most.
Or having to bring money to the table every month to float it. And very, very few are actually cash flowing.
Yeah. It's honestly, guys, it's most. And what happens?
That bought during that time because they got loans on them. Now, if they paid cash, that's a whole different story, right? Because they don't have a payment. Mm-hmm. But if they have a payment, most of those are not cash flowing.
Yeah. And so this is one group. The other group are people who really need to make a move. And it's funny. You have two kinds of needs. You have, I know I need to move, and I really need to move. I really need to move is urgent. Mm-hmm. But I need to move is where a lot of these people fall, and they go, but I'm negative. And I want to say something. We're not expecting somebody that doesn't have money to write a check and sell their home, but you have to understand something. Real estate values go up and they come down. And over time, here's what we know. We know there hasn't been a 10-year period in the last 30 years in which home values didn't go up in the 10 years.
That's true.
So you have to...
And I thought that was actually only in Utah, but that's in the whole United States.
Nationwide.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not in the backwoods of Alabama. Just kidding. Probably there too.
Yeah, because they covered at the real estate convention last week. We went through the national data, and that's true. The data that you and I went through was St. George, and that's extremely true in St. George.
Yeah, except for Barstow, which is the official city that I use every time to beat up on a city. Yeah. All right, kidding. All right, I was telling my wife. I said, do you know we always beat up on Barstow? She said, you're kidding me. I beat up on Barstow.
That's fine.
So she didn't know we were doing this. So these are the groups. You bought a home. You spent, in hindsight, what feels like too much. Look, you paid what it cost at the time. Mm-hmm. And you want to move. And you're going, does it make sense? Look, I take this car. I put it on the market. Jesse had his on the market. I tried everything. I was on all these different websites. I spent 2.5 months. I'm still making a freaking payment on it. Why were you making a payment? It's a long story. I thought it was going to be sold immediately is the main story. And I found the deal on the hybrid that I wanted. You bought a Tesla.
Yeah, it's her fault, actually, that I bought the Tesla.
Yeah, because you wanted to be able to keep the dog in the car on dog mode.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, for people that don't know, Ms. Soto she comes to work with me every day because my wife and I are gone 10, 12 hours a day. I can't just drive to Hurricane to let her out.
Yeah.
So she comes to work with me, and I got caught in the summer leaving her in the car with the car running. I couldn't lock the doors.
So you're like, someone's going to steal my car.
Yeah.
Because the air conditioning's running.
I was raised in the city. Yeah. You don't leave your car unlocked, and you definitely don't leave it unlocked running.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I had a Tesla in the driveway because of dog mode.
Yeah, it's
I would have never thought that.
You're not the Tesla type.
I'm not, but guess what I am today? I love that car.
He really likes the self-driving. He loves it. It's hilarious to watch it. I think the self-driving is actually a little weird, but that's me.
Dude, it's great.
Here's why. Because you just sit there and you're like,
yeah, you're still watching the road.
So now what? Anyway, okay. It's funny when we drive in his car okay. So I love this share though. So yours was brought on by a dog. Yep. Mine was guess what? Mine was brought on by a wedding. Yeah. As Jesse knows, I got married last August.
Mileage. Yeah. Because you had a lot of miles.
Yep. So, but here's the point. It wasn't brought on by the mileage. It was brought on by the wedding. This is what people have to understand about motivation.
Okay.
And if real estate salespeople could understand this, they would actually have a better experience with their clients. Real estate salespeople go and talk to somebody and they go, so why do you want to move houses? Oh, we're just tired of our apartment. And they take that at face value. Mm-hmm. And they've actually missed the pain that is behind. So I wasn't brought on by mileage. It was brought on by a wedding. And the wedding produced mileage because I go back and forth between. Right. Yeah, does this make sense? Mm-hmm. So I go back and forth, up and down. I've got dealers making me offers on the car. I can't, nobody wants it. I'm getting inquiries. It's Facebook Marketplace where 9 of 10 inquiries, they ask you a question, evaporate into thin air. Yeah. And finally. It's a lot
like real estate.
Finally, correct. I looked at my situation over the weekend and these people had offered me $16,500. Mm-hmm. Stephen Wade had. And I couldn't sell it for $19,900 on the open market. And I dropped it off at Kia for some service, and they were going to have to make a little repair to the back door. There's a sound. These Kia Sorentos, the rear door gets this creak. And then I was going to get an oil change and have them kind of look it over. And I said to myself, if Stephen Wade offered me $16,500, I'll bet Kia will just offer me the same. And I sent a text to the gal yesterday and said, yeah, I will sell it because she'd asked me. Will you take $16,000? I said, nope, I have a loan on it for $21,000, $21,124. She said, fine, we'll do it. I went down there. Probably like you did. I took my checkbook. I was there for 20 minutes, wrote them a check. And let me tell you something, guys. Yep. $4,593.88. And when I walked out, I felt like they wrote me a check. And here's what happened. I want to tell you the benefits, and Jesse can chime in. I had a payment on my car, as you did. I financed the car in 22 very specifically to keep my powder dry. I wanted the capital in my business. We were doing this building and I had moved and I had this building coming up and I did not want to use cash on a car. Dave Ramsey says, oh, just cash everything out. Okay. Dave Ramsey also says that grown adults should take paper routes and deliver Uber Eats on their off hours so they can stay out of debt. Whatever, Dave. So yeah, talk about a guy who's loved and hated.
Yeah. He's known though.
Yeah, he's sure. Well, that's why he's so great is he's polarizing. I very intentionally did this. I only put $5,000 down. And this is where I'm going to help some sellers. I'm going to give a perspective here. I happily paid, I had a $700 payment on that car. Oh, that's a lot of money. Guys, it came out of my business. We have a big business. We have a high overhead. I own a building. This just kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Right.
But here's what happened. I was heading for my third payment owning 2 cars. That's dumb. I got rid of the payment. Number 2, I stopped going through the mental gymnastics of wondering if this is ever going to happen. And number 3, I got rid of something called decision fatigue. And decision fatigue, people have no idea what the cost of decision fatigue is. It's only good for weight loss, mainly because of the stress. But you stew and you spin and you plot. And if you are married, do you know how many of our vacation rental owners are from Northern Utah and they're married and they're professionals that got sucked into this? Oh, I heard our friends bought a vacation rental in St. George. It's like, oh my gosh. And so now you can't go a week without you and your spouse having this dreadful, stressful conversation. Should we sell the home, but we're upside down? Okay. Here's the perspective. I put $5,000 down and had to write a $5,000 check to sell it. Here's what I could have done. I could have put $10,000 down at the time, got to this point, sold it without writing a check, and guess what I would have perceived? That I came out ahead.
That you broke even. Yeah.
Here's the problem. Guess what? The numbers were actually the same. Mm-hmm. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
The car was only worth what it was worth. So either I could have given the dealership 5 back then or 5 now. And quite frankly, I actually won because I had my powder dry. Mm-hmm. This is what I want sellers to remember. You know, if you're going to stay in the investment game for very long, and some of you aren't going to stay in the investment game, you're going to have wins and you're going to have losses.
You are going to have some losses.
And since we know, Jesse, that the average home value has always gone up over a 10-year period, what has every seller over time actually done? Won or lost?
Won.
They've won. So you have... This isn't, by the way, go ahead.
I would even dare say for our own personal homes, we cannot make the decision based on, well, if I sell right now, what will happen? because for instance, if you sell a home, unless you're like perfect at timing,
yeah,
you're going to win some, you're going to lose some.
Correct.
But over time, let's say you move 4 times. Over time, you will have massively gained net worth.
Well, and here's the crazy part, Jesse.
Even if you lost once.
Correct. Let me tell you how skewed our perspectives are as homeowners and as Americans. We actually have been trained, because home values over time have gone up.
Yeah.
We've been trained that we now have the expectation that if we buy a house and sell it in a couple of years, it's going to be worth more. That's an interesting delusion, because most of us were taught that you had to work for something. Now you just buy a house and you live in it.
You wait. Yep.
Buy a house and you wait, and it goes up in value. How many people can do that deal over and over in their regular daily life? You know, you buy a house for $300,000 and you sell it 10 years later and it sells for $550,000. Now you paid interest and there was a maintenance. We know all this, guys, if you're out there naysaying that. But it went up by $250,000 and all you did is just actually raise your family in it. So we have to temper expectations. And so when we're talking, so I want to point out 2 things. Number one, if you're a homeowner, rental owner, somebody, and you're going, I want to get out of this, but I don't want to lose money. And these idiots said they only had to write $5,000 check and I'm going to have to write or lose $100,000. I get it. I understand those numbers are different. I would simply say at some point you have to alleviate the decision fatigue, which is to decide to keep it or decide to sell it. Mm-hmm. Number 2.
Just make the decision and stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
But, I had a couple that came in, Boyd and Barbara, about 7-8 months ago. It's probably 8 or 9 months ago now, pre-wedding for me. And they had 2 rental properties that they took on in a little investment deal here in St. George, Washington City. Mm-hmm. And they thought they had $1.1 million in real estate based on the trade they'd done. Well, they didn't have $1.1 million in real estate. They had about $950,000 in real estate, which means they lost $150,000 on the deal. But they wanted to free up the powder. They wanted to free up the funds to go to Page, Arizona and purchase a commercial building that was going to pay them far greater dividends than 2 single-family rentals in Washington City, Utah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the funny part. I worked with them. I definitely worked with them on fee structures. Mm-hmm. Jesse, when we sold those homes, it was just like me walking away from Kia yesterday, having written a check to them.
They were happy.
They were ecstatic. Mm-hmm. Right?
I remember, yeah.
So, the final thing I want to say, and I want Jesse, I've definitely dominated, but I guess I'm the host because I want some commentary from you, is when we talk to people and they go, should I buy a home? Is it going to make sense? Are we going to lose money? Tell them the actually very holistic guidance we give about timelines. Go ahead. Because people would think, well, you're realtors. Of course you tell them to buy a house.
No, and I'm going to use the college, for example. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of parents will start looking at rentals for their kids when they come down here to college and they think, man, I could spend all that in rentals or I could just go buy a place. And so they start looking at buying a place just while they're in college. Now, here's the challenge with that. In a market like we've been in for the last 3 years, many of them I've said, well, hey, that's only a good decision if you're going to hold on to it for at least 5 to 10 years.
Correct.
If this is only a decision for while they're in college, I don't know that that's the best thing to do because that doesn't give the market time to decide what it's going to do. But a 10-year period always does.
Bingo.
Always does.
Bingo,
so
dude.
If it's a 2-3 year timeline and you need to make money, then I don't know that that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, and let me insert, guys, if you just picked us up, this is the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. The only real estate radio program in town shot at the coolest historic building in town with a dog on the couch currently. Thanks to Blue Form Media for facilitating that.
I want to add something to that. I would have even said that in 2019 and 2018. And here's why. Because a 3-year period, 2 to 3 year period is never time to gamble on the market.
No.
It's got to be a long-term play.
Yeah, this is really interesting. When I look at home values, I'll tell you a couple of wild ones that I've seen. Where we've seen some crazy fluctuations have actually been, and this is shocking, it's been in some of the lower end townhomes and condos. In the depths of the foreclosure meltdown, I was selling Hidden Valley townhomes down off of Brigham Road in Bloomington Hills, right next to Desert Hills High School. I was selling those for $85,000 to $90,000. Jesse sold the highest priced unit ever 3 years ago.
And I don't remember what it sold for.
$394.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting part. They were $85,000 to $90,000. Why I didn't buy 10? It's so strange. I don't know what I was thinking. But remember, guys, we will always be in fear in the market of whatever is scary at the time. At the time, we thought they'd never come back. They went to $395. That was a fully renovated unit, to be fair. I comped some out recently for a seller at $300,000.
Yeah.
So they went down to 85. They went all the way to 375 to 395, and they're sitting at 390 or 300. And here's the weird part. People would say, you mean to tell me that home values have come down 20 to 25%? Actually, no. There are pockets.
Yeah. But
see, here's what happened to townhomes like those. If you're an investor, I sat with Ernie and Leanne yesterday in here. They own, listen to these units they own. They own 2 Color View townhomes, a Sunnydale and a Stratford. All these old condos, which by the way, guys,
probably $250, right?
Yes, they were all new in the 80s.
Yeah.
And now they're all pretty tired. And I showed them something. I said, here's the challenge. Your unit sells for $250. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. You can only get $1,300 a month in rent.
Yep.
If you sold that to a consumer that wanted to get a loan, like a buyer, their monthly payment is probably $1,700.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to rent it, it's their negative.
Yep.
And I said, but you could go across town and D.R. Horton, and if you guys want a list of what we believe are the best values, especially for investors under 400, we'll give that to you. And you can buy a brand new unit in Long Valley, brand new, 2-car garage, 3 beds, 2.5 bathrooms, 14 to 1,600 square feet, inline townhome, beautiful, light, bright, airy, multiple pickleball courts, multiple pools, lazy river. Literally, it's a resort. And here's the crazy part. The monthly HOA fee is $120 a month. And when you go to these old units, it's like 2 to 3. Yeah. So what's happened, guys, is that over time, things get tired and then they need maintenance. And sometimes, here was the punchline. They said, but everything's so much more expensive. I said, yeah, but you're going to come out ahead by trading the old for the new.
Here's the problem with that. The other problem they have.
Yeah.
That brand new townhome, because of the deals that these big builders are offering, the payment's going to be the same or just a little bit more than that $250,000.
Correct.
Because of the interest rate they're offering, which a normal homeowner cannot offer. It's too expensive.
Yeah, and this is such a beautiful point as we wrap up. I mean, homeowners can't compete with builders. So look, guys, today we talked about the fact that 2 of us in this room wrote a $5,000 check to sell a car. And quite honestly, we're happy to be rid of it. We're happy to be rid of the stress, the decision fatigue, the albatross. If you're a homeowner sitting on a property, you know you're upside down, you're negative, you bought it in 21, 22, especially if you bought an Airbnb, I vote you just have a conversation with us in our final minute, and maybe you don't sell it. Cool, right? But at least you can make a decision. Yeah. Guys, visit us at gostgeorge.com, GOSTGeorge.com, or Google the Larkin Group. Just Google the Larkin Group and say, hey, I want to talk. You guys, I've listened to Jeremy and Jesse on the show, and I've got questions. You actually can walk right in the door at 695 East Tabernacle. Jesse, thanks for being here.
You bet. Thanks for having us, guys.
Glad you're enjoying your Tesla. We'll see you next week.
Bye.